Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa and to the Nordschleife Challenge Redux Edition. Now, why Redux Edition, you might ask? Well, the cars that are going to be in this part of the series have already been on the challenge, and today's vehicle of choice is going to be the BMW M3 E30. Now, these Redux videos will work a little differently to the normal challenge video in that you are only going to see my fastest lap and I will be commentating on it sort of post-lap. I'll also put up the video of my fastest lap of the last attempt in the top left hand corner so that you can compare it live, and then the fastest lap that I've done this time is after a whole bunch of laps, depending on how much time that I have had. In this particular case it was about 2 hours, I think. I spent about 2 hours actually trying to drive this car, and depending on how much more I can think, well, I think I can eke out of the car. So with this I was pretty much on the limit. Aside from that, everything else is the same, weather conditions are the same, and as usual there is no traction control, but there is ABS and the car is going to be on street tyres. To give you a reminder of the specs of this car, the BMW M3 E30 Evo 3 churns out 235 brake horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 177 foot-pounds of torque, or 240 newton meters of torque at 4,750 RPM. All of that comes from a 2.5 litre inline 4 engine, which is naturally aspirated, obviously at the front of the car. All the power goes to the rear of the car. It is a rear-wheel drive through a manual 5-speed gearbox, leading to a 0 to 60 mph time of 6.5 seconds, with a top speed of 154 mph or 248 km/h. Tyres on the car, front and rear, and I like it when the tyres are all around exactly the same, are 225/45 R16s. The car has a curb weight of 1,200 kilograms or 2,645-ish pounds. And if we look at the lap times right now, the lap time that I set last time on this car was an 8 minutes 43.438, which was enough to, at the time, have it fairly high up. I think it was in the lead because there was the crossbar which we expelled, but it does mean that at this point in time it is all the way down in 31st position, actually a few tenths of a second behind the Audi S1. So perhaps we'll be looking at gaining at least a few tenths to get it ahead of that Audi S1. On the driver leaderboard, this car is currently sitting in 4th position. Now, I'm not sure if that is going to drop. I highly doubt that's going to climb, but there you go. So we have a few tenths to gather with this car to get it ahead of the S1 and get it into 30th position. I doubt it's going to go any faster, because beyond that we're looking at an 8 minutes 30 to hit the Porsche Macan. I do not think that's going to happen, but you never know. In fact, put your guesses in the comments box right now. So let's see how close you can get. Anyway, I think that is about everything. All that's left to say is hopefully enjoy the lap, and let's see just how fast I can go. Okay, here we go, starting the lap. BMW M signs over to the right hand side, which is lovely. Braking hard for the first corner. Realised that I can carry quite a lot of speed through this corner, so I just put my foot down, made sure the car rolls nicely, dial out any understeer and just let the car go. Same thing here, slight amount of understeer, but that's okay, pushing it as far to the left hand side as we can go. Coming down right now into the twisty section at the start of the lap, and really here it's very easy to lose time. So I learned that, at least with this car, let the car roll through the section. As soon as you touch the apex, get back on the throttle and it should be okay. Braking, accelerating hard all the time does not seem to quite do what it needs, quite work the way it needs to work. Coming up to Flugplatz now, and this is always a dangerous corner. In fact, you will notice that I think I did this corner ever so slightly better in my last lap, or the previous occasion. It wasn't my last lap, but my previous occasion. It is not an easy corner at all. You've got to make sure that it doesn't push you out all the way, because the car will either understeer, and there's also a bump just after the jump. There's this small bump. Hit that bump and your car is not turning, you are going into the wall. Anyway, moving on from that, I think this section I did fairly well, and now we've got to climb up the hill all the way to... Now, in English, I believe that this corner that we're coming up to is called Foxhole, but I'm not sure exactly what it is in German. I am very slowly learning the names of all of these corners. Very easy to end up oversteering here as you go over, ride the curb as far as you can on the left hand side. This area as well, got to really brake hard. It's a lot slower a corner than one might think, so just slow it down, hit the apexes, and as you come out the second corner, accelerate, let the understeer pull you all the way across. Over here you can roughly straight line it, as you can see what I'm doing, roughly straight line, dab on the brakes, turn it in, let the car, in this case it understeered a little. What I would have liked it to do was get a slight bit of oversteer to get the car turning in, but unfortunately I was not able to do that on this particular occasion. Still not 100% sure of the best gear here, second or third. This section again is another one where you think you can carry a lot of speed, but if you do, you end up on a bit of a funky line, and then through all of this you're on a funky line, and that means you cannot accelerate after you've touched the apex on the second corner, not the first one. You missed the first one, hit the second one, push it out all the way. This one, very easy to lose. A second, half a second, 3/4 of a second. You just have to make sure, again, it's all about getting the car slowed down, straightened up, and then planting the power. Over here, I've learnt that bringing it right out to the edge there works, although perhaps I would have liked to not touch the curb and destabilize the car a little, because I think bringing the car back on, this car with its particular suspension, a little bit wallowy, it was bouncing just a little bit as I wanted to turn right, and that didn't work. And here is probably the worst corner on the track for me. As you're about to see, I am about to lose a substantial amount of time on this entire uphill section because I messed up that corner. Unfortunately, I was unable to get that corner pinpointed and as precise as I wanted to. There was a previous attempt on a previous lap, that is not the lap that you see, where I managed to get that corner a lot better, but as you can see on this lap, I am up on that previous lap anyway, so it isn't like it's going to matter a whole lot, but half a second lost. I lost half a second through that corner, and it's really, it was a little frustrating because I attempted it 4 times, 5 times, something like that, and I was just unable to get it to do what I wanted it to do. Braking here is really easy. You see the rumble strip appear on the left hand side, you slam on the brakes. It is really that easy, and I think I'm finding the appropriate line for that corner as well. Dump it into carousel fast as you can go. Lost a couple of hundredths there, but made it up on the exit straight through the middle. As you can see, I did that on both. You can clearly see now that I am quite substantially ahead of my previous lap time. Earlier in the lap, I will admit that I think I had pushed the car as much as I could potentially push it and no further, because I actually was only able to gain maybe 2/10, 3/10 through the whole first section of the lap on my original lap time. So I think I had that first section down almost perfectly. I'm sure somebody else would be able to get a little bit faster on that, but for me that was as best as I could do it. And here, through this last section, I think, is where I really gain a lot of time compared to my previous lap. In fact, just have a look at how much I have gained. Did not want to touch that curb on the right hand side. That actually lost me about half a tenth that I could have gained. And this curb's alright, not a problem, it isn't too high, just don't touch the sand on the other side of the gravel. And then through this, it's just it's really important to be smooth through that entire section. Be careful here because you do lift off the ground. There, you just heard the tyre squeal a little. Quick downshift to third, pull all the way to the red line, back up to fourth, helping me just get that little extra on the revs as I was going uphill. So I needed that little bit of extra, I suppose, torque and power just to get that extra acceleration right at the top. But through that all, I was flat out after that, all the way to this section, which I still haven't done quite right. The car had a snap of oversteer, so I went out slightly too wide. It cost me a little bit of time, but not a substantial amount. I think again 3/10 of a second there is what I would have lost. So overall, looking at this lap, from what I think I could get, I'm only about 3/10, no, not 3/10, just under a second behind. I honestly do not think I could gain more than 1 second, maybe if I had another 10 laps around here, maybe 1.3 seconds, but that's about it. I really could not gain any more lap time out of this car. So here comes the lap time up on the screen in a moment as we just come through the final section. As you can see, we've gone well past that Bilstein billboard. It's many seconds in front now, and a lot of that was gained through the last 30% of the lap. Slowing down the car nicely into this section is also really important. Try not to wheel spin here, and there is the lap in an 8 minutes 37. In fact, to be a little bit more specific, that lap was an 8 minutes 37.191. So that does bring it into 30th place, overtaking the Audi S1 Quattro, which of course still has to come along in the Redux, but still quite a way short of the next car up on the list, which is the Porsche Macan. Now, the thing about this is, I genuinely do not think I could have gone another 6 seconds faster. I think that is where it is going to be. That Porsche Macan is always going to be ahead of the BMW. But of course now there is a lot more competition, because now the Audi S1 has to catch up, and on the other page, as you saw at the start of the video, you've got the Sierra Cosworth, which wasn't too far behind. So that's one is going to potentially have a chance to catch up, and the Toyota GT86, which was also not that far behind. So those are the cars that are going to be challenging this E30 M3. Looking at the driver's standings, if we just bring that up, I'm going to leave this car in 4th place. And the reason for that is simply, it is a really, really good car. It isn't the greatest car, but I think as a few cars come up through the standings, for example the Ferrari F40 will probably jump a little, I think just in doing that, the M3 will end up where it's supposed to be. At this point in time, I just see no reason to drop it. It isn't the fastest car. It's a little wallowy, but it is a really, really good car to drive. And with that, I'm going to end this video. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Make sure you do hit the notification bell if you can. Support me on Patreon, link in the description box below, as well as links to my social media and Discord. That is all from me, and I'll see you next time in Assetto Corsa for another video on the Nordschleife challenge.